Welcome to episode number 152 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on YouTube on July 31st, 2016. I am David Erickson. I'm with my co-host, BL Ackman. We have a lot of stories to go through this week. We got topping it off with hacking American democracy. We'll talk about the no-tweet Olympics, but lots of condoms. Grabby Getty images. TechCrunch gets hacked. Melania Trump is exposed. Twitter food porn. Cool stats and marketing apps that we'll wrap it up with. So you want to stay throughout the rest of the podcast. We'll get those goodies, but we always started off with the worst stories of the week. And BL usually has the honors with the worst stories of the week, but I came up with the worst story, and
this is as bad as it gets. So you go first.
I'm kicking it off this week. So, and that is Russian hacking of American democracy. This is from a Time story by Massimo Calabrese. So obviously, the Democratic National Convention committee was hacked. Their emails were leaked to WikiLeaks on the eve of the DNC convention, forced Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. Then the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee was hacked. That's the fundraising arm for congressional Democrats. And now the Clinton campaign's data analytics program has been hacked. That's according to a Reuters article by Mark Hosenball, Joseph Menn, and John Walcott. So a group of bipartisan national security and homeland security officials have come out and called on the U.S. government to treat the hacking as an attack on American democracy. And they're urging the government to take actions to defend against any attempt to disrupt the outcome of or affect the outcome of the presidential election is in November. The group includes Michael Chertoff, who you remember was George W. Bush's former Homeland Security chief, Michael Hayden, he's a former CIA and NSA chief, and Jane Harman, who is former Democratic ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. They've called on the president to determine who is behind the attack and officially identify the perpetrator. Russia has been, by a bunch of experts, identified as the perpetrator. Russia's been aided and abetted by presidential candidate Donald Trump, who urged them on to hack the Clinton campaign. Trump has documented close ties with Russia, as does his campaign manager, Paul Manafort, who has advised pro-Putin politicians. Trump refuses to release his taxes. George Will has a column in the Washington Post suggesting that the reason he doesn't want to release his taxes is because it would reveal his ties to Russia. There's no other word for what Trump has done by encouraging foreign governments, Russia, which has been adversarial to the United States interests in many ways. There's no other word to describe it than treason. It is treason. Were he no other person than Donald Trump and a presidential candidate, he'd probably be in jail. But there it is. Now the thing we need to worry about is Russia's obviously hacking into Democratic organizations. They obviously have their candidate is obviously Trump. The thing we need to worry about is them hacking into state secretaries of state voting systems and trying to affect the election. This is just ridiculous.
Well, it's beyond ridiculous, and he said in an interview just, I think last night, I can't keep up with the stupid things he says, but he said, well, maybe it was China. I was just guessing about Russia. Maybe it was China. I mean, he is so out of his mind. He is batshit crazy. And that you're right. If it was anybody else, they'd be in jail. Like, why?
We've been talking a long time for many episodes about hacking and the problem it poses to national security. I never in my mind would have I thought that an American politician would encourage a foreign government to hack our own democracy.
No, it's horrifying. So, and this isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of the story. So I have on a much lighter note,
Yes.
much lighter. The Olympics Committee has also gone out of their minds. They've gone off the deep end, and they say that this is from a story in Gizmodo and another one on ESPN, and they said that if you're not a sponsor, you may not tweet about the Olympics. The U.S. Olympics Committee says that they own all the intellectual property. So in a letter that they sent to ESPN, they said commercial entities may not post about the trials or games on their corporate social media accounts. The restriction includes the use of USOC's trademarks in hashtags such as hashtag Rio 2016 or hashtag TeamUSA. They also own Olympic, Olympian, Go for the Gold, among a whole lot of other words. And so they said, we need to give sponsors exclusivity to our intellectual property that is protected by US law. So the, where's his name? The author, Matt Novak, said, so does that mean that a non-sponsor can't tweet the official, retweet the official Olympics Twitter account without facing legal action? He said, well, there's only one way to find out. Who wants to be the first one to try? I just used their logo in our blog post for later today. Hope we don't get sued.
Well, yeah, that's absurd. Speaking of, so the Olympics Committee is getting grabby with words. Getty Images has gotten grabby with images. This is from a hyper-allergic blog post by Carrie Dunn, which documents a photographer, Carol Highsmith, who in last December, received a letter from Getty Images accusing her of copyright infringement for featuring one of her own photographs on her own website. Getty demanded payment of $120, and that's how Highsmith had learned the stock photo agencies, Getty and Alame, had been sending similar threatening letters and to other people charging fees for users of her images. She had donated those images to the Library of Congress for the general public to use at no charge under public domain. Highsmith has filed a $1 billion copyright infringement suit against both Alame and Getty for the gross misuse of 18,755 of her photographs. The lawsuit claims they are not only unlawfully charging licensing fees, but are falsely and fraudulently holding themselves out as the exclusive copyright owner. So these Getty and Alame have grabbed basically all of her public domain photos and are charging people for it.
That's mind-boggling. That really is, and $1 billion is a little bit on the mind-boggling side too.
Well, she's also, she's basically, the harm done to her was people being charged. Basically, she's saying there's reputational damage to herself, but also the other people who bought the images that she gave to the public domain that could have been available to them for free, but bought them through thinking that Getty had owned the copyright to them. So,
well, it does make you wonder how often this is happening, and if they're the only ones,
right.
And who else it happened to, and hopefully that'll bring about some sort of change. So, in terms of hacking, obviously this is not as bad as hacking the election, but TechCrunch, the website, according to an article by Samuel Gibbs, and that was in The Guardian, TechCrunch, I didn't see this myself, but what goes online stays online, and so I saw it afterwards because it's in the Google cache. Verizon owns TechCrunch now, and they became the victim of Our Mine hacking group, who Dorsey, Twitter executive Zuckerberg, and Google boss Sundar Pichai. And what they did was they appeared to gain access to the site using WordPress, and they posted under a byline by a writer named Devin Coldaway. They posted, hello guys, don't worry, we're just testing TechCrunch security. We didn't change the passwords. Please contact us. And the post was on around 12:20 p.m. British Standard Time, which would be 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time. and it was gone within a couple of hours, but it's still showing in Google Index and cache. And, you know, they're doing it, also claiming responsibility for the denial of service attack on Pokemon Go servers. So, you know, the problem is the inherent flaws in our system, and how on any site you're only as strong as your weakest link. And the other thing that happened that ought to be a little bit chilling is that the password management site LastPass was hacked. And so you need to change your master password now. Oy.
That's a mess, because I know a lot of people have started to use LastPass or similar services, and I tried to use LastPass one time, and I'm like, this is just way too difficult for me to. There's too many steps to get it in place.
I did the same. I was like, oh, forget it. You know.
But you know, you use it, you go through those steps, hoping that your stuff is secure, and I don't think it's really that secure. So yeah, we need to figure something out, but I don't know what it is. So another other organizational shenanigans. A site called PostGhost was shut down. They were shut down because they got a cease and desist letter from Twitter. PostGhost was a site that posted deleted tweets of prominent people. So politicians, public figures who had deleted their tweets, they would archive basically those deleted tweets. So on July 6, PostGhost received the cease and desist letter from or email from Twitter that says that asked them to shut down the site, saying that they'd violated Twitter's development agreement and policy. PostGhost has shut down their site. The website was created to provide the public with a more accurate history of public statements made by the most influential public figures on Twitter, they say. PostGhost provides a fairer, they argue, and more transparent way of allowing individuals to hold public figures accountable than PolitWhoops, which was a website that Twitter had recently reauthorized to publish certain deleted tweets, but only from a list of known politicians. PostGhost argues that more beyond just known politicians, that are prominent people, celebrities, public figures that are not politicians that delete their tweets, and we should have an archive of them because the ability to delete tweets, Twitter discourse lacks accountability, and you can turn only to Donald Trump routinely post stuff that he deletes, and if there's no sort of objective third-party archive, he can simply say that a tweet he deleted never was tweeted. And
well, he's pretty closely watched, unlike a lot of other people.
That's
you know,
true.
I think
That's
if
true.
he deletes a tweet, it's pretty hard for it to escape notice. Speaking of Trump, the New York Post, Isabel Vincent, who apparently writes Page 6, has a story in today's New York Post, which is a conservative rag that I wouldn't line my cat's litter box with, but she ran a scandalous photo essay of Melania Trump in her early days, and the headline is Melania Trump as you've never seen her before. And frankly, I detest Donald Trump and everything he stands for, but this is wrong in more ways than I can count. They have 2 pages of photographs of Melania Trump wearing nothing but high heels in her nude modeling days, and it's trending on their website. It's been seen more than 1 million times, and it's disgusting. She's not running for office. Leave her alone. It's bad enough that she's married to him. They have to bother her besides that. I know you don't want to comment.
The depths people go to for page views, I guess.
Oh, no, it's and a woman did it. I mean, maybe she would lose her job if she didn't do it. I don't know, but you know, she should think twice. It's disgusting. So, happier news. This is so weird. YouTuber MarinaJoyce had mass hysteria began on Twitter that there was a kidnap conspiracy theory. She was modeling, this is from a Huffington Post UK story by Chris York, and it ended up that the police had to check on her welfare because this kidnap conspiracy erupted overnight. She was modeling a line of dresses, and her fans thought that they could hear her whispering, help me in the background. Now, the video has been seen 27 million times, so the brand got their money's worth. And the hashtag saveMarinaJoyce appeared, and people were going through the videos and looking for clues about her well-being. And then somebody started a thing that she was kidnapped by ISIS, and they said, it is very sweet, guys, talking about the video. And then somebody makes a circle around ISIS, and this is who kidnapped her. And this went on, you know, and then somebody tweeted, everybody in London needs to be smart and vigilant, stay safe. ISIS said London is next for terrorist attacks. And she's saying, guys, I'm fine, you know, I'm really fine. And so she had to go and say she was fine. And then the Anon message said, yeah, she's not okay. So this went on for days, and, you know, she's fine. She's also adorable.
Wow. That's just strange.
You know, it's the strangest thing of the week. I mean, stranger than even Donald Trump. And that's hard to get stranger than him. That does bring us to better news, yes?
It does. It does. This past week, I was out the first half of the week at conferences and out of the office. The first on Monday, I went to a digital marketing summit, Minneapolis, which had a keynote by Mark Wallaert, who is a director of Microsoft Ventures. He's a behavioral scientist. And he gave a very fascinating talk. He discussed consumers in terms of their perceived identity and the type of content they need according to that identity. He categorizes consumers into basically two types: stable and unstable likers. So unstable likers, he calls, well, they're the hipsters. They are the people who are really passionate about the new thing that nobody knows about, the trend, and they want to tell everybody this is the hot new thing you need to know about. But they tell about it for what it says about themselves, that they were the one who discovered it, right? That they're the one who are the trendsetter because they discovered it. When the thing that they're really passionate about becomes popular, then they're over with it. It's popular, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. But these people, Wallaert argues, are the people who can amplify your message because they are really passionate about the thing that is trending and will tell everybody about it. So they need short, shareable content. Stable likers, on the other hand, are people who are deeply passionate about a topic, so deeply passionate that they want to get in the weeds. They want to talk about the very intricacies of the topic they're passionate about. They'll seek out other stable likers, people of like mind with whom they can share their passion. So they're the people who will form communities around the topic, and they need deep, long-form content. So that's how you satisfy them. And they tend to be the people who are going to be loyal to whatever it is that the topic is about. So those are people you can build a long-term relationship if you can tie your brand to it. So it was a very fascinating talk. We'll have a video of his presentation basically on the in the show notes. So and that gives me a chance to talk about our new blog format too. So we've switched from just having links to the third-party stories that we talk about during the podcast to including any multimedia that we reference in the podcast. So if we talk about a video like I just did, we'll include that video presentation on the blog post itself. So if you go through the blog after the show, you'll be able to find out each segment that we talked about with any related multimedia. If it's a tweet, if it's a video, if it's a audio, we'll include that embedded in the blog post itself, so you don't have to go anywhere for all the stuff that we talked about.
And the video of the show is also time-stamped, so if you want to go directly to a segment, you can do that. And so we hope that you find this engaging, because it's definitely something that is a labor of love on our part, huh, Dave?
Right. labor, definitely.
Labor, for sure. So I saw a brilliant campaign this week by a charity named ActionAid. And apparently, this is from a Mashable social good story by Rachel Thompson. And the name of the campaign is Brutal Cut. And apparently, this is the season for female genital mutilation in Kenya. And it's cutting season in August, unfortunately. So YouTubers and bloggers are disrupting their videos and their photos on social media to raise awareness of this threat. And so what they did was they set up a site where you can drop any video or any photo into a square, and it will automatically add the disruption into your videos. So there's one on the blog that I did with a picture of my kitten, and in the middle of it, there's this message. It's very jarring, and some very prominent YouTube people have begun to do it, and so it's a very effective campaign. But what I liked the most about it was the technology that they had, where you could just drop, drag and drop, and you didn't have to do anything else. There was no coding, there was no nothing. It was a really brilliant execution.
Well, that's especially the how to make it successful is that the ease of use for people to share the message. So good for them. Good for them. Here's another clever, not as important, but another clever campaign that I came across in a tweet. A promoted tweet from Ralph Lauren. So Ralph Lauren is the official outfitter of the U.S. Olympic team. They're running a Twitter promotion to create your own TeamUSA shirt. So I came across this promoted tweet promoting that, and it's running a personalized promoted tweet that uses automatically generated GIF to include the Twitter users' names within the actual ad. So the ad shows a t-shirt, and you see scrolling across the back of the t-shirt your name. So I saw David scrolling across the back of the t-shirt in the ad itself. So very clever. I don't know how they did it, but very clever. So the targeting based on first name, I guess.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That was tried before, where you could put in your own name. Wasn't that a football team that did it, and they got like all this horrible stuff? So speaking of Twitter, Twitter has embraced the hashtag FoodPorn, and what they did was they enlisted 17 top chefs and food influencers, and they are going to have food-focused original content within Twitter, and it's really like a full-on embrace of food porn. And when I tweeted about this, which came to me via Toby Bloomberg, who runs Diva Foodies, when I tweeted about this became one of my most retweeted and liked tweets of the week, because people are really into food and the way it looks and what you can eat. And so this is from Casey Butler's story on Mashable, and from Twitter's own blog, and Twitter calls it the Food Council, and it includes Gladia De Laurentiis and let me try and pronounce this, Alexis Guamachelli, and they're going to tweet, Vine, and Periscope original food content every day, and they're going to have special online events in the real and in the real world too, and they're going to test new products, and they're going to be bringing them into the events. And food is one of the most social media friendly topics, and chefs have huge followings. But the interesting part is, a spokesperson for Twitter said the company's not paying the chefs to participate and not selling ads around the content, which I figure is not yet.
Yep. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting from, I mean, that it's a good place to start. Definitely food is hugely social, both in terms of a cultural phenomenon. I mean, you sit around the dinner table and talk, right? It's a social thing, but also in terms of social media sharing. People love sharing images of food. And the other thing is Twitter dipping their toes in the water of original content.
Absolutely. And I'm very tempted to add a picture of something I cooked last night, actually. Fabulous. Have you heard of cauliflower rice? I had not.
Don't even want to go there.
Well,
it doesn't sound like a good combination.
No, it's really good. It came in a promotion from Fresh Direct, and I said, this sounds really good. So I ordered some, and I made this wonderful thing that I'll share it.
All right, I'll share a copy. I'll share a picture of my grilled cheese sandwich with rosemary and honey drizzle.
That sounds good.
It's really good.
Speaking of things that are really good, this was a moment on Twitter. The athletes at the Olympics are being welcomed with 42 condoms in each of their rooms, and but they don't have TV in their rooms. Nobody has TV. They just have condoms.
Well, that's why they need 42 condoms. Apparently.
I assume that the TV would distract them. Yeah, really. So the best headline was from Nathan Brown, who said, for tradition started by the Greeks, this is an awful lot of Trojans.
Why 42?
Who knows?
Okay. All right.
They didn't give their formula. Who knows?
All right. So this is a clever campaign straight from the heart of Minnesota, my favorite state. This is from an Adweek article by David Giantazio. Explore Minnesota is a tourism agency, and they've tricked out a pair of steel shipping containers for an experiential campaign that invites potential visitors to the state to sample a pair of Minnesota's state attractions and share it via social media. So they've taken 8 by 8 by 8 foot containers, and they're calling them Minnstagram booths. And they feature a wilderness. One features a wilderness scene from the Boundary Waters Canoe area. So if you're not familiar, Boundary Waters Canoe area is a area of Minnesota that abuts the Canadian border, and it is completely a wilderness area. You go up there and you canoe through it, and it's beautiful, absolute beautiful scenery. There are loons, our state bird, that go and do their loon call, which is a very distinctive call. And especially during the Northern Lights, you can hear that they just go
You
crazy.
can see the Northern Lights in Minnesota?
You can see the Northern Lights, yeah, yep. So
Oh.
you go up there to see the Northern Lights because there's no light pollution. So anyway, this container has a scene from the Boundary Waters Canoe area. It's complete with wispy cattails, a morning mist generator, loon calls over the loudspeaker, and a wooden canoe for faux paddling. And people take pictures of it and share it on social media. There's another container that has recreates the famous wall from the First Avenue nightclub that Prince made famous with the Purple Rain movie. That has complete with a fog machine, a bouncer, purple stage lighting, a nod to Prince, obviously, and a full drum kit, so people can sit behind the drum kit and jam along to tunes playing over the sound system. And so that is people are sharing that on social media. So far, the containers have graced events in Chicago, Denver, and Kansas City. More are planned for this summer. They've generated to date 1.25 million total impressions, and they're created by a competitor. Shout out to our competitor here in the Twin Cities, Collie McVoy. So very well done, Collie McVoy.
Very well done. What a good idea. I mean, we've come a long way from the days when Pennsylvania had, remember the groundhog? That when he was going to, was a guy in a groundhog suit, and you would follow him along, and he did these really inane things, but he was hilariously funny, and everybody would watch, because in those days there weren't that many things to watch. You know? You didn't have to be this this nuts about the whole thing. So does that bring us to shiny new stuff?
It does indeed. What do you got?
Well, I have something really kind of cool. It's called Toka Flash, and it's about to go live on IndieGoGo, and it's basically a flash drive in a belt buckle. I'm a little bit confused about this because it's held to your belt buckle magnetically, and I thought that if you put a magnet near anything involving computing, that would not work. But it's a really nice looking belt and the belt buckle, and you just attach it, and it's held on strong enough so that you can't drop it by mistake or whatever. And it the retail price is going to depend on the storage capacity, and it's going to start at $240 US. But people who are backing the IndieGoGo campaign will be able to order for 40% off, and the prices will start at $120. And it has a USB 3 and Apple Lightning connector and wireless connectivity, and it works with iOS and PC. And it's really a new era of wearables. It's very cool.
So it's a flash drive belt buckle?
It's a flash drive that attaches to a belt buckle. So it's the size of, it fits into the belt buckle. There'll be a picture on the blog post, and it fits into the belt buckle, and it's very cool looking, actually. And
so you can carry around your flash drive in your belt buckle and not have it in your pocket. Is that the idea?
But that would be fun. I mean, why not wear it? You know, we're wearing everything else. What do you have to
new podcast I came across. I follow the EMarketer site quite a bit for following statistics and surveys that come out. They do a great job with that. And they've recently come out with a new podcast called Behind the Numbers. And so they have researchers from eMarketer talk about the statistics that they cover. 5 episodes so far. So who knows if it'll last, because we know podcasting takes a lot of work. So we'll see on that front. So far, so good, though. The episodes are really good. They've got episode covering fathers and the sharing economy, ad blocking and social video, and augmented versus virtual reality. So we'll have an episode on the blog post for you to listen to if you'd like.
That's very cool. Now, this one is, sadly, this was a fake, but this was something called Pooper, and it's Uber for dog poop. And this has some commentary on the state of the economy. This came from a Fast Company story, and, you know, it sounds like Silicon Valley finally went even more nuts than it's been. So we have a totally unnecessary and maybe a little bit illegal app. And it was run, stories about it ran, this is my favorite part of the story, ran in the Washington, excuse me, the Washington Post, the Next Web, the Daily Dot, several radio talk shows. And it was, what it is you download this app, your dog poops, you take a picture of the poop, and seconds later, someone arrives in a Prius, picks up the dog poop, and drives away. What the world needs now. So the website has a professional looking promo video, and it promises on-demand pickup, and you know, all you have to do is snap the photo. And in actual fact, it's a fake, it's a piece of art that satirizes the app-obsessed world and our, reliance on the gig-based economy. But the funny or saddest part of all is that you could sign up for emails as either scoopers or poopers. You know, the poopers were the lazy dog owners who were snapping pictures of their dog poop, and hundreds of people signed up, and 70% of those were for scooper positions, which they said was kind of surprising, considering that has to be the most demeaning job in the history of the world. And so he said, we wanted to keep our humor dialed in enough so it didn't immediately feel like a joke when you saw it and you weren't sure if what you were watching is real or fake. And so over the past several days, they've gotten 40,000 hits on their website, and they have signups, and they were approached by a number of investors looking to get in on the ground floor.
Oh, that's fake. That's wonderful.
Isn't that great?
It is. It is. So yeah, this is not nearly as good, but Twitter stickers have finally rolled out. So Engadget's Matt Bryan has a story on it, but all you need to know is they're out there. You can use them on the mobile device. So add a sticker to your photograph. I've got an example on our blog post, so you can see me with my new hairstyle.
Oh, is that what you call it?
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, I'm done.
Right. Yeah, let's go for the daily.
I'm not sure the world needs Twitter stickers, to be honest with you.
Well, if Facebook has stickers, if Snapchat has stickers, Twitter's got to have stickers.
Yeah, they all have to be like each other.
Yeah, so daily numbers. So we had more political news than I care to talk about, but this is important. So Roger Ailes resigned from Fox News this past week amid numerous allegations of sexual harassment of employees. He was widely credited as the driving force that turned Fox News into what it is. So what is it? It is a news organization that, from a business standpoint, is brilliant. All they did was feed people what they want and satisfy their customers' desire, and the customers obviously wanted a very narrow news, and so that's what they did. But there have been surveys out about the effect on Fox News. It's actually called the Fox News effect. And here's another one. William Poundstone's research found that Fox News viewers scored the lowest of over 30 popular news sources for a quiz of 12 items testing knowledge of current events, geography, history, science, and personal finance. They were not the least informed viewers. The least informed people are people who did not follow news at all.
That's
The
Trump.
five least informed sources were people who don't follow news at all, Fox News, Twitter, local television, and Facebook. The most informed audiences were those who watched The Daily Show, read nonfiction books, read the Wall Street Journal, listened to National Public Radio, or lastly, most informed audiences, those who watched Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. It doesn't surprise me that among the most informed viewers were The Daily Show and John Oliver, because they do it brilliantly. They actually
Well, they do it
educate you
brilliantly
on.
for sure, and people who would choose to watch them are likely to want to be informed as opposed to be amused or whatever it is they do on Fox.
Well, there's confirmation bias going on with Fox, as you hear what you want to hear. So anyway, there we go, the daily numbers.
Okay, well, I believe that brings us to the end of the 152nd episode of the Beyond Social Media Show. And you will find after the show links to everything we talked about and the videos that we discussed and our video replay at beyondsocialmediashow.com/152. And feel free to leave us a review at beyondsocialmediashow.com/love. David Erickson is at D Erickson on Twitter. He blogs at estrategyblog.com and creativepr.com/blog, both of which you really shouldn't miss because David is a content machine and he's always on top of everything. And I'm BL Lockman. I'm at What's Next on Twitter. I blog at whatsnextblog.com. I run maximum-plus.com for all things live stream video and video interviews. The show is online at beyondsocialmediashow.com. Twitter, we're at BS Media Show, and you can subscribe to our newsletter. And of course, we're Beyond Social Media Show on YouTube, and we are on iTunes, we are on Stitcher, we are on Google Play. You can pretty much find us anywhere online, and we hope you will. And we'll be back next week, same time, same station. Thank you so much for watching tonight.
Thanks for watching.